Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder, to my impressions on the PBM-3 Mariner and this event vehicle that we now have from the sea voyage that you apparently get after what I think it was 4 marks of distinction. Yet there it is, the flying boat, premium rank 2 America or USA. And what is it like? Well, it is a mixture between a B-24 Liberator, roughly, and also a Catalina. So what I'm talking about is the PBY, of which, you know, you have 2 variants, the PBY-5 and the PBY-5A in the American Tech Tree at 1.7. And honestly, I somewhat have the feeling from its overall flight characteristics, this is a relatively high battle rating. But I think it is justified because we have 8 1,000-pound bombs, which is quite a lot as its maximum payload. Now you could also choose up to 12 100-pound bombs, but nobody uses that. And also 8 500-pound bombs is a straight downgrade. Then we have the gunners, of which we have 5 single mountings of M2 Brownings, 50 cals. And we have 2 turrets in the back, 1 to each side and 1 in the front. Does this always help you? Not quite, because you see a lot of fighters are used to attack from below because they try to climb after you. And there you have, as you can see, no firing arcs. So in order to get the enemy into a effective range, you need both 50 cals effectively, because the defensive capabilities of any bomber in the game are severely hampered by the artificially increased overheat, together with an insane amount of dispersion of the same weaponry compared to fighters. So even though you are perfectly leading, perfectly aiming, and that, you know, excludes also the difficulties with the conversions, which this plane doesn't really suffer too much from. In terms of, you know, that you don't have wing-mounted weapons like the BV-238, for example. It's still more a roll with the dice. It's not so much down to your own skill. It's down to, yeah, your luck, basically. Let's come to the bombing capabilities. First of all, you have 8 1,000-pound bombs at battle rating 3.0. That is mighty. So if you compare this with some other American planes, like the PB4Y2, that is at 5.7 battle rating. Granted, it also has 4 2,000-pound bombs and so forth, better defensive capabilities, but honestly, the B-17EL at 5.7 has a lesser bomb load. It only has 6 1,000-pound bombs. And yeah, the previously mentioned B-24 sits at 6.0. Now the plane is terribly slow, and that always makes it a challenge to go into the bombing zone area in the first place, even trying to deliberately destroy pillboxes, bridges, tanks and so forth. It's very hard because this plane is wailing around quite a bit, so it wobbles all around, it is very unresponsive. It has more the characteristic of a heavy bomber rather than a twin-engined, I guess, medium bomber, but I think this is also down to the float plane characteristics. So there is no defensive armament in some sort of a ball turret on the bottom, like on the B-24, B-17s, you name it. So you're a bit defenseless. The next thing is, can you dive with this plane? Can you rush in? Not quite. So there I was very lucky, because at this battle rating you only need 3 1,000-pound bombers to destroy a bombing point, and not the 4 that you need at higher battle ratings. So the bombing, the bomb load that you have is more valuable at your battle rating than the one that the previously mentioned planes have at higher battle rating. So I think in some way, shape or form it is in good tradition with other event vehicles that they have some stupid advantage that gets further increased with their battle rating. But I think a lot of people get driven away by how fragile this plane is, how difficult it is to make work, how slow it is, and even at 3.0, I'm not even talking here about, you know, big up tiers to 4.0, you're nothing but gun food mostly. I tried my best here, but you cannot really dive away because 400 kilometers per hour maximum diving speed is quite nasty before you get the message reduce speed, and I think you cannot even reach 450 without ripping. And this is in Air RB. Yes, I used this plane in Air RB rather than in Ship RB because, again, you know, at higher battle ratings, there are a lot of proximity fuses, and you're a slow target. But you're also a big target, so it's gonna be practice. And even at your battle rating, there are no destroyers to really bomb, and then they are even enough maneuverable to go away. Also, a lot of other float planes are more maneuverable, more nimble. Not all of them, of course, BV-238, etc. But some of them are just more heavily armed, and I cannot wait to see this plane engaging a H6K4 or something along the lines like this. So there you can see how long it takes now on the big map to destroy actually all the bombing points. Now I destroyed 2, I have 4 bombs left, so that's enough for the last one, and then we can in theory approach the main base. That never happened. Usually there was always a King Cobra, many mixed matches, a lot of things are wrong with the matchmaker, and when you get constantly attacked by P-61s or a lot of the German planes that try to hunt down bombers, I mean, yes, you have 50 cals, but honestly, so many people are knowing the weak spot of flying boats, attacking from below, or just coming from a side where you have very limited chances of getting them into firing arcs. It is very difficult to make this plane work, and then it is quite unresponsive. It can turn relatively tight, but only for a very short time, and losing for that a lot of speed. And the constant amount of battle time that I show you, including the return to the base, which I will cut out up until the very last stage where I think I will never make it back. Well, there was just, I was always sacrificing altitude. So even though you can manage to land at speeds of just above 200 kilometers per hour, as long as you are not too heavily damaged, that is, you then cannot bail out of the battle, except for hitting exactly that 1 second, leaving the plane when your repair is at 0 seconds, which I might demonstrate here in this video. No, I don't. So the plane is very slow, but it has a very impressive payload. The defensive armament is not useless, but not reliable at the same time. It has just dead angles where an enemy fighter can approach you with impunity. Why should you play it then? Well, in theory, I think a lot of people are interested in getting a free premium, and I think 4 marks of distinction is not asking too much, point 1. Point 2, this plane has the full Silverline modifier for a relatively low BR, plane. And I think if you play this with your friends, late at night, including some beers, not taking it serious, you actually can, in theory, decide games. You spam 4 of them out, they have enough payload potentially to knock out all 3 bombing points, defend each other with the gunnery if you train this, and then you get the full premium Silverline modifier. And there you can see this P-61 sneaked up on me. I was diving as hard as it was possible, and there you can see that initial turn, but you bleed a lot of speed. And he is using his 50 cal gunners because he has a quadruple 50 cal. Very balanced. Yeah, it was one of those mixed matches of which I got into quite a lot, and there's just nothing that I can do. So I think the plane has strengths, clearly, payload. It is not completely useless in its flying abilities and also in its defensive capabilities, but it's very hard to make work. And it shows one thing, that even at low battle ratings in RRB, there are some nasty opponents, which are so much faster than you, have no difficulties whatsoever to catch you and to knock you out. And in particular the Germans with their 20mm mine shells, it doesn't take many hits to take you down completely. And yeah, even though you might get some critical hits and you try your best, there you can see how limited the firing angles of the second turret are and how many 50 cals are coming back towards me. And yeah, and now I'm on fire and he thinks I'm dead and I think so as well. And then magic happens and the fire extinguishes. That never happened before. This was one of the rare occasions when I played this plane that, you know, I actually got back and the fuselage was damaged. My gunners were knocked out, yeah, and I'm just about to reach the base, but my last player in a P-39, I think it is the Russian K1 version, yeah, he takes the fight with a 0 and a P-61. He might win against the P-61, but against the 0, I doubt his chances. And yeah, now I'm in the safety of the anti-aircraft bubble of my airfield, and so I want to land. So my verdict on this plane is, it is a nice collectible. It has a very useful asset, and that is that you have 8 1,000-pound bombs, which do more damage at this battle rating on a bombing point and a base than they do versus the same targets at higher battle rating. So if you manage to get on target, you not just only do more damage, but you do a significant amount of damage and you have the full maximum civil line reward. So in this respect, I think it is a nice pickup along the line when you want the Leningrad. And in theory, you also can cap, you also can in ship RB, in combined ship battles, you can cap and you can contribute to the success of your battle. The problem is, if you manage to get some high altitude bombing off, the bombs take so long, it's difficult to aim on ships, and at this battle rating, even the patrol boats have 40mm. Some of them have also 76mm guns with proximity fuses, the LCS-3 for example, and there is always a lucky shot that takes you out from your high altitude, and then there are a lot of fighters in the air. Despite your impressive bomb load, you need the appropriate targets, and that might be just a problem for this plane to get to the target zone. If you manage to do this, if you bypass all the fighters or you get some lucky shots in, setting them on fire, even that doesn't guarantee your survival, because the 20mm just tear you apart. And yeah, that shows, because every new tech tree needs a new shiny plane, and then even at this battle rating, even in moderate up tiers or in full top tier battles, you're just not really worth anything. So not the best plane, but definitely not a particularly awful one. So it's still better in my opinion than a Heinkel 111. Having said this, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more. And we'll see each other on the battlefields, on the waves, and in the skies of War Thunder.